I'm more than happy to welcome Urs from HIN, representing the health sector, Markus Riner. He is the head of digitalization and IT at the Association of Swiss Electricity Company, and William Boye from he's head of network services at the Swiss National Bank. And I think we can sit down. So I'm really happy to have representative of different industries. You are running critical infrastructures and using SCION, or are going to use SCION within your industry. So I think we will make the most of this discussion, that we share your expertise, your view on SCION, and draw the lessons learned. What can those people who want to adapt that technology in their organizations learn from your experiences? So maybe as a quick start, I've been spending a couple of hours here attending lectures 25 years ago about IPv6 and this technology. Now we have SCION as a very powerful technology. So why do we need a better internet within critical infrastructures? And maybe how does the internet influence our society, and the loss of connection may even hurt the functioning of our society? Maybe William, you are the guy who has the most experience on using SCION.
I can try to start my input. I was a networking engineer. I was teaching network engineering. I was teaching BGP. I knew a lot of these internet technologies before. Then 2016, we came into contact with Adrian. We learned this idea. And in the center is this idea of isolation domains. And when we had this first look at isolation domains, and I also think that now perhaps another term could be a trust domain. So, right, you have service providers, you have big entities, you have big enterprises, and they are sharing together a trust environment which is secured by using certificates. And this, of course, there is a genuine relationship between this technical concept and what Peter Turing has explained to us about the mandate of the Swiss National Bank. It is trust in money. We have to make sure that all the autonomous parties are engaging safely with each other and that they can communicate in a not disturbed way. So this was, from the beginning, it was this idea to create a community which can secure and enhance communication between autonomous players. It is not dependent branches of one enterprise, but autonomous players, right? And this was the starting point for us to say, well, this could be something very new, very special. And I'm very grateful that the Swiss telecom providers who started this project initially, but also the other ones who are now coming to join, that they are taking up this idea that cooperation, collaboration, trustful collaboration brings a new quality into it.
So it's all about trust, I read, and I saw also the Vertrauensraum on your slide. Is it also trust the driving force to look into SCION?
Yes, sure. There are two dimensions of trust. The one is the reliability, the trust that a connection is there if it's needed. That's one part. And the trust is also within the internet that we know with whom we communicate and collaborate. So this is I like this expression, trust domain more than isolated domain. And I think that this expresses also one of the of the benefits or real advantages of this technology. And this is a very important part for our market segment. Yes.
Okay. We heard where you are on the journey for the financial industry, for the health industry. Markus, you recently signed or announced that you're going a big step into SCION and use the technology. Maybe you can quickly give some insights where you are in your industry.
All right, of course. Yes, we decided that we wanna build the secure Swiss energy network, so very much aligned with the naming of the other networks that we are already building. So, and that does that come from? I mean, we operate a really critical infrastructure with electricity. I don't have to tell you what happens if our systems go down and power goes down because of cyber attacks, stuff like that. So it's really also about trust in our industry as well, and of course in our society at the end of the day, and about security. And people like the idea to ring-fence critical infrastructure or systems of critical infrastructure. So and as we become more and more digitalized in our industry, building smart grids, more and more digital platforms, we become more and more decentralized. We connect the grid, wall boxes, charging stations for e-mobility, stuff like that, the PV production environments, and so on. So this really becomes critical that we can operate all these systems very secure. And that's why we decided to make this step and to start to protect our systems better. And overall, we follow a strategy and a mission to really increase cyber resilience in the industry here in Switzerland. And we have also some regulatory pressure coming from the EU, and also we work together with the government to increase the standard of the minimum standard in cybersecurity. So that's really a good step to support also the industry in doing that at the end of the day.
And during lunch break, we had a short conversation. There you mentioned you are not only thinking about using SCION to connect utilities companies, but also end users. Maybe you can share your thoughts about that.
Yeah, that's true. We think big and start small with SCION. So I can give you one example. Right now we are building a centralized platform that we want to use to communicate in crisis situations to the clients, to any client of our industry, about availability of electric power, and also later on plan scheduled maintenance downtimes and stuff like that. So this is a typical use case for centralized ecosystem platform, as we call it, which is more than just for our own industry. It's really, we have 9 million inhabitants in Switzerland almost, and it's really about how can we communicate effectively to all these people. So we have an ecosystem. We have many multi-site clients, like all the retailers, for example. They want to know, do I have power? When do I have power? When do I don't have power in crisis situations? So that's really these are the drivers.
Okay, very interesting cases. So the motto of this SCION Day this year is elevating internet security. So maybe have a quick look on the drivers and the benefits the various industries are seeing in adapting the technology, using that for the organizations within the industry, but also to the end. What sets SCION apart from other technical solutions? What specific advantages do you see? Maybe Urs, you can start sharing your view.
Yeah, these are actually the core functions or the core benefits of the SCION technology. It's, one is this geofencing or this community thinking. This is a very important part. Then the availability, and then the also knowing who is participating in this in this domain. I think this is a very important part. These three things together, they create a trust, and I think even in our market, it's there are some services not yet provided because there is not too much trust in the availability of some services, of base services. So, and our vision is to really bring these trust to our market segment, that the participants are able to create new services, to implement new models of caring and treating, and we believing very heavy that this is a very solid foundation to do that. Then based on that.
William, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, perhaps one thing, I would call it a paradox. And we were thinking about SCION has to go global, right? So that it has a higher market penetration, higher reach, and it is more stable for everyone to use. And on the other side, what we are looking for is trust. And trust means it is something. It is something local, not local. It's something where we know each other, right? So, and I think this is the thing I would suggest to overthink. Getting global just not means to get 1 million SCION users, but to have this idea of trust connections spread more, and we don't know what kind of other trust domains will come up and what other ideas will come up. I think this is open, right? But to have examples, working examples like the SSFN, the health network, the energy network, which is coming up, to have these examples there, to have other people look at it, and I think this is the road. And the basis for this is what Nicola told us this morning, to have the standardization. I think this is really the basis on which all these upcoming initiatives can set up and start on, right? And we are just examples, right? So here, no? So getting global is not just getting global in more numbers, in higher numbers. It is, so I try just to...
Perhaps I would like to add something, because there very important roles are also the ISP playing.
Yes.
And I think if we are perhaps the community thinking is local or a community, and the other one is that we really can use that worldwide.
Yeah.
There are the different ISPs from all over the world. They are playing a very important role, because without the ISPs, we are not able to establish all these domains. So I think there are different layers or ways to see going international.
Yeah. So it's trust and this ecosystem.
Yeah.
Various players are providing this platform, and everybody who joins has to be known as a communication partner, be trusted as part of this ecosystem. Very interesting view. And standards has been the success of the internet, open standards. Everybody knows how IP is working, and all these protocols, A.2.x was mentioned. Everybody's using these protocols since they are open, and that is successful. Maybe thinking on IPv6, it was also an open standard, but it will soon come. I hear that for 25 years. And my impression is that at the end, the business value, so what is in for me, is one of the missing link. So maybe looking on SCION, what are you telling your clients, your organizations? What are the business use cases, the value you are providing? Maybe Markus, you.
Yeah, actually it's pretty easy to explain. As I said, it's about ring fencing critical systems. And what happens if we don't do it properly? Then, I mean, that's basically almost enough for the story, to be honest. But as I said, it goes a bit beyond that, and we wanna. SCION goes to the end user, and we wanna ensure end-to-end secure data exchange as well. So this all creates value. We want to have that sovereign. We want to have that secure, and also, I mean, if you can explain, for example, to insurance companies that we have secured our systems using SCION, for example, this is really mitigating risk definitely, and this is a case. I mean, already. Although we don't think so in our industry, because you cannot just insure every risk. But it's definitely about reducing risk using SCION, and these risks nobody wants to carry in our industry anymore. So this is the story, basically.
I heard that financial industry is an industry where no surprises is key. Maybe you have now a couple of years of experience, so you're in the middle, you just started. Are there any success factors, lessons learned you see you can give Urs and Markus on their way that they succeed in? I think the critical mass, the adoption rate is key. If you have a critical mass, then it's somehow self-fulfilling, but how to reach that?
I would say, when I look back to the last 6 years of our project, it is sincerity, it's honesty, it is transparency in the discussions between the different partners. It is a common goal, a clear vision, what we want to reach. It's not so much about technology. This is what Klaas, he's now not here, but what he told us from this. It's not about the technology, it's about the mindset, I would say, and this was a very important key factor for us. So, yes. And in the end, I don't want to. My wife do not has to know that when she's using a SCION app on the smartphone, she does not need to know that it is SCION as a protocol running behind. So SCION is an interdomain technology, but we have our aims and goals of trusted communication, right? And this is what we have to keep in mind. And this is what I would like to say to the technical community. They have to come up with more easy tools to deploy SCION, to deploy new SCION domains. We have learned about the efforts of Fritz Steinmann and LibC that setting up a PKI was very, it was a hard work what they had to do. So this to make easier, this is what the technical community has to do. And this is what we expect from them, so I would say.
So the job of us as engineers is to ensure that everything is working, but your wife is interested if she is staying at the cashier's desk and wants to pay with the credit card that it's working, that it's reliable, and not a game, and sometimes she's able to use that service and sometimes not. Do you have any first impression from your clients on using the technology?
Yes. It's actually SCION is a very, very interesting technology, and the first thing you do is even if you're an engineer, then you're talking about the technology, and that's wrong because you cannot sell this technology. So what we learned and what you also mentioned is we should really sell the opportunity and the potential that SCION is bringing into these different market segments. What will be possible with SCION, what was not possible before, and these are really the learnings now that we have to translate all these benefits in a market segment specific language and showing the opportunities that are open up through this technology. I think that's the most important point, because the other ones, they are not they are not understood by so many people, especially in our segment. They are working in another world than the IT.
What is your impression? Are we doing enough for this transporting the messages, what's in for me to the various industries, or is there? What is at present the blocking factor for the adoption? Yes.
I would. It's the opposite of a blocking factor. I was very surprised, and it was a very wow when Mrs. Dubach was telling us what are the efforts ongoing from the federal side. And when I saw all these different projects, I said, well, this is what I was waiting for, or what I haven't seen so far. But you're already working on this for years, I think. But this is something where I said this is very important, that there's a federal, from the state, there is a recognition and a support. It's not a top-down approach of putting SCION into place, but it's a recognition and a fostering, right? So this is where I think this is a good way where we're now. When I hear what you have said, this gives me hope. Yes, this is fine.
It's like every time you intend to eat an elephant piece by piece, and I was very impressed seeing that there's a clause in the contract with the hyperscaler that SCION is one of these technology used, and you have a couple of ongoing projects in order to use that technology, and so it needs leadership from us and going step by step in order to bring this technology to life. So, what are the next steps, Markus? What are you doing in the next few weeks, months within the energy sector?
Yeah, well, after having we have set up a task force essentially for the governance and to lead through the whole journey of SCION. And now we have formed a working group to make the concept for the SCION. And we're going to start next week with a workshop and really go step by step. Hope to copy paste, of course, also some stuff from the SCION.
I heard this is very successful. You did it.
We did it. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So we want to learn from you guys, of course, and go step by step. And what you do is also we have now this first use case with the communication platform that I mentioned, with the app and the website for effective communication in crisis situations. And we are going to identify more use cases, also some very operationally critical use cases, for example, for transferring power production schedules, stuff like that, which is then really in the daily business. But we, as I said, we start small and but think big.
Okay, this sounds very promising, and also the community is a very good factor in order to bring that to life. You have been using the experiences from the Swiss National Bank, from SIX, to adapt the technology. What are your next steps? So what can I read in the newspapers in the next few months?
Actually, these are the adoption is a topic, but on the developing side, we are looking for bringing really the SCION functionality out to the devices, also the mobile devices, to the users, and also these easy to use thing is really driving us too. And there, I think we have a lot of nice challenges, because our customers, they are really living in another world when they're doing their job, and they have no time to take care about technologies like this, and so and we have to transform that into their day-to-day life. And I think, but there are also a lot of very nice opportunities for the adoption then.
So you need the iPhone moment. So there was smartphones available long before the iPhone, and with the iPhone, first time technology was ready to use, easy to use, and that you say that's an important step. Also, when you are approaching the broader customer base.
Yes, and also bring this technology into these huge and expensive medtech applications and all that stuff. This will be key. So and also very important.
William, what are you planning for the next weeks, months? I saw this schedule, but maybe you.
Yeah, we have plans. As Peter Turing has mentioned, that the connectivity to different cloud providers is something where we're looking at, and we are very curious to listen to the upcoming speeches where this is a topic. And as Peter also mentioned, the usage of the SCION protocol stack on end devices. I think this is a must. This has to come. I'm looking forward. I think when the standards are ready, I think that players like Apple, they are more readily willing to look into importing this standard, and then I think it will start like this.
Perfect. So we squeezed out some time after your talks. And said, well, there's space for Q&A, so now it's time to ask these gentlemen on everything you always wanted to ask. Are there any questions? Yes, please. There are some mics somewhere.
I think now it does.
Yeah, it works.
I find it thrilling. So we have an SSFN, we have an SSHN, we have an SSEN. So how many SSXNs do we actually need? And then at some point, do we as an organization, so I work for UBS, will we need to choose who we trust? And then if there's thousands and thousands and millions of isolation domains, how will we establish who we trust? But, you know, that's of course the very big question, but just let's say for Switzerland, to cover Switzerland with reliable communications, how do you see that? Do we need many isolation domains, or might it be better that we just, all of us agree on one? Any views on that?
I want to take that question. So how many secure networks do we need, isolated networks?
Yeah. I think it needs as many as are needed. So now, no, I think I think because it's. I'm coming back again to the trust, and you were asking who can I trust, and what we saw in the PKI presentation is behind each isolation domain there's a governance body. So these are the voting members creating the trust into the trust root configuration. So I think this is a part of an answer I could give you. It's if there is a segment that has to work together, like a health or also a smaller part, then a governance body has to be built that gives a specific governance to this domain. But a domain is not has not to be isolated so they can also interact with each other, and then we can establish rules under which conditions we could communicate and collaborate with others. And so I think it's a little bit like in our human lives. There are groups joining each other, coming together, going apart. And I think with this technology and these concepts, we got the chance to establish these organizational units or market segments. Yes.
William,
I just would like to add something, because what we've learned from the cyber defense campus this morning, I found it very interesting that for this test bed they set up, they use the Swiss isolation domain, which is offered by the Swiss service providers. But perhaps in half a year or in a year, they will come up with the idea, well, we should need a separate isolation domain so that we can control the governance more, as you said. Well, perhaps not. I think this is the strength of this SCION interdomain technology concept, that it gives room to different initiatives, and there's not one way we will see how it will evolve. So, and I think it's open. We will see.
And my understanding is that most of you have already an isolated network on dedicated infrastructure quite often for the financial sector, for government. And SCION offers much more flexibility, can reuse existing infrastructure, and this way interconnect different organizations in a managed way. So we have much more freedom to use our infrastructure in a logical way. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for your talk. I want to also ask a question about the isolation domains, because I see there's this need for the isolation domains and the trust within the industry. But setting up the governance board for each isolation domain, I'm curious, is there a template, an SSXN template?
Okay, so can we reuse the governance bodies or have a blueprint on how to implement such a secure network within an industry? Who want to take that? William.
I've understood, Urs, that you in your project, and you were able to take what was worked on in the SSFN project, but I think it's always necessary to have an individual, sovereign change of what is there. I think to work on a blueprint, I think this would be not so a good idea. But to make a reuse of material, of processes, of experiences, I think this is great, right? But
I think there are also again different layers within this organizational part, or also all these documents that are needed, and we appreciate it very much to work together with Fritz, with Six, and but what we did, we adapted this, but I think if there is something like a common ground, it would make it easy also if we got these SSXN communities here. Perhaps we could also establish something to exchange then about experiences and everything. And if we do it in a similar way, not in the same way, in a similar way, perhaps that's then easier.
Each industry can benefit from each other, using the lessons learned. Patterns already done work, but there will be not one size fits it all as a blueprint for every industry.
And I think what we've also learned this morning, that the idea to support SCION governments, SCION domains with making use of blockchain technology. Was also a very, very interesting input this morning. So I think this is from the technical perspective. I think there are many fields of work what you can do, when I have a look to the one technology provider we have at the moment, but also to the different university teams we have all around the world to make this more easy to deploy such network environments. And what they have in common for me is this trust moment. And to make this easier to adopt and to work out, I think this would be helpful. So.
Other questions? Yes?
So if SCION had a reservation protocol that would ensure that traffic can go through from end host to end host, is critical infrastructure interested in dropping their dedicated lines? And if not, where not?
It was too...
Yeah.
It was not loud enough.
Okay, so imagine that SCION had a reservation protocol that would ensure that traffic can go through between two end hosts. Would critical infrastructure adopt such a system? And if not, where that would not be possible? Thank you.
So it's about reservation, QoS for critical infrastructure. Are you intend to use this technology?
Well, I think this is a very technical issue, but I think this is a very important feature. When we think of the SSFN, we could make a difference between very critical data transports, like Peter Turing mentioned for the Swiss interbank clearing. So it would be, of course, it would be a very good idea to have a reserved bandwidth inside of this network, which is guaranteed every time. And for other financial services, we are using on this SSFN. Okay, so we are making use of it, right? But yes, so to make the answer short, yes, it makes sense. But I think this is more a technical approach. But I think I can imagine different use cases where it would make sense in an inter-domain context of collaborating service providers to make sure that we can reserve bandwidth for specific connections. This makes sense, yes, of course.
And this could be also, as I mentioned before, the translation of this technical issue into a use case. For instance, remote surgery is really a very highly data demanding application. And there are huge bandwidths needed, and they should be guaranteed. So if we translate that in a use case like this during a short moment, it had not to be every time. It's just during the surgery. So these could be use cases where a very important technical feature could bring then the effect that technologies or treatments like that are really feasible. So and reliable.
Yeah.
I like that. I would very much appreciate if during my surgery the bandwidth is guaranteed. Otherwise, maybe it's a catastrophe when financial sector is not working. But
and that the light is not going out.
Oh, exactly. So, are there any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
6. They used some kind of pressure to introduce the SCION technology in their industry. So that was a good thing to speed up the process, but it took a bit of pressure. They take a limit of, let's say, end of September next year. Then everybody which is participating to the banking industry is forced to use it. How much pressure does it need to introduce this really nice technology into other industry? How much pressure does it need, or how can we construct such a pressure in a good way?
Okay. Maybe William, you can say, was it really pressure? And maybe Urs, you could say what you mentioned that you are not able. Maybe William, you can first answer how much pressure did you experience in the financial sector?
Of course, the Swiss National Bank has a certain amount of pressure power, right? And they made use of it. And we have learned that banks are usually very slow in adopting into coping to time ranges. So sometimes we have to tell them, move on. But I think, as we have learned from class with this Edu Roam, when we're coming to use cases which are beneficial for all of us, then things will ramp up, right? And then we have a totally different kind of pressure, right, to enhance this. So this means bring it here. This is my answer. So.
And also you mentioned during your talk that you do not have the authority to tell your clients that they have to use that technology. What is your recipe to increase adoption rate? Or how much pressure is needed or feasible?
First of all, I think here in Switzerland, pressure is not well appreciated. but no, it has. There could be. We are really hard counting on the network effect. If we are able to communicate the benefits and the use cases, and then we got the network effect. And then within our business, we got all these associations like FMH and others. And then if they are spreading out recommendations, you should do that because of. And then I think this will again accelerate the whole thing. So I think I was mentioning the pressure in braces because even if you have some kind of pressure, you have a longer adoption rate than expected. So it's always this thing also, like in the speech before with this Edu Roam. But if it's a good thing, you will have the adoption. Yes. Yeah.
I just said when Adrian was showing his slide with the circular dependencies, which is a problem to come out, right? So the service providers are waiting for the users, and the users are waiting for the service providers. We have this kind of circular. Then what we need is to change this picture into 3 dimensions. Then we get a spiral going up, right?
So this chicken
and this means we need the goals. We need what do we need, right? And then these circular dependencies become spirals.
Okay. And as far as I know, I don't know your sector very well, but you are using the Rundschreiben as some sort of information on how your participants should act. No, it's the FINMA. I'm sorry.
FINMA.
I'm sorry.
FINMA is using it. Totally different.
That's totally different. I'm sorry for that. Yes, there was a question over there.
Yeah, I'm just relaying an online question, which is about adoption in healthcare. So I was wondering, online they were wondering how it is going and with adoption, and from my side, also being from the SCION Association, like how can we make it? How can we help, or what can we learn from your experience on the field in getting these two in the end-to-end users?
Yes, we are just like I mentioned before. We started to sell that, to communicate that, and we got these 3 groups in our community, and we have to communicate to these 3 groups totally different. And there we are learning and also adapting our communications would do, and we are just working very hard on this spiral. That and it's in our sector, it's that there are a lot of small regional communities. You have a hospital, you have a bunch of doctors' offices around them, and this hospital is also working with another hospital, having again some doctors' offices. And if somebody is deciding to do that, and then the other one has also to do, and then these are and this. And there we are learning now. We are knowing our market, but this is a new service, new technology, and we have to translate into the right language. But I'm really happy to also to exchange personally about how we could work together to accelerate that. Thank you.
Is there a last question? Yes.
I'm also from the SCION Association. I have a question. Klaas said that it's very important that the first version or the basic technology of something new is simple, and that SCION maybe is a little bit too complex or can work on this. My question, especially maybe for William, is what do you think is unnecessary complicated with SCION, or what was really something? So if you put it in practice, you think might be made a little bit easier, or is it just okay like it is?
I have the problem. I have the problem that I have a technical network engineering background. So when I compare it to the old stuff and what I see now, I'm always very curious about the details. So I like the details, right? But to enhance this usage of SCION, I think we have to simplify it more. It is an inter-domain technology. So the enhancement of the cooperation between service providers, groups of users, this has to be the main focus. This is my opinion. And standardization is what you are doing is a very important cornerstone for this, but this to have in mind, it's an inter-domain technology. The service providers should see the positive effects of their collaboration, business, and we should see from the user perspective, we should see what it is bringing us in terms of security, protection, and so.
Really last question, please. Otherwise, I'm getting killed since I learned that.
I think what for us as UBS has made the difference that we jumped on was really SSFN. We were interested in the technology, but that was a clear changer of our attitude. And what's that? It's a clear use case. Whether there's pressure or not, that's a totally different thing. But for us, it was clear, this is something we want to be with from the start. What I heard this morning about DDoS prevention, and I now understand what the hook is, so thanks to you. Sorry, I can't, I don't remember the full name. But thanks a lot for those explanations. That's another game changer for me, to understand how actually SCION helps intrinsically with combating DDoS. And actually, that is going to drive our conversations with, for example, ISPs. That's a very clear reason why I will want ISPs to give us that. So if the SCION Association can do one thing, it's condense out those very clear use cases, which we can all go on board and then talk to our providers. This is what we want. And then there's cloud behind, there's push behind. That's, I think, what we can do.
Okay. Thank you very much for the statement. This is a very good closing statement. Thank you very much for the very fruitful discussion. I learned a lot. At the end, it's all about an ecosystem of trust, and we need these short business value statements in order to use the technology. And I'm curious what's in 1 year on the next SCION Day. Thank you so much. And now you have time for coffee break, and it starts again 1:45. Thank you.
Danke.